Hi, my name is Danny Bailey. Very briefly, I've been involved in neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy for 10 years. I've spent several of those years, even though I knew everything about psychology, or I thought I did, going through depression, anxiety, and losing confidence and things like that. So I was on a search to find, okay, even though I know this stuff, there still must be some missing things. Because I believed I could feel happy again like I used to. Because there's always glimpses of it as I was getting better, and I solved it. So this is all the variables you need to understand. It's very quick. It's gonna be 10 minutes because people only watch short videos. But what I really want you to do is to watch the free 6-hour video, because you need a depth of understanding. Because it's like a brain. Your brain, if you have depression, your brain is a certain way. So you need to change that. You can't do it all in 10 minutes, but you can know in 10 minutes what you need to do. And the further explanation helps you understand more, so you can know how to do what you learn here that you should do, and just tips and stuff like that. So let's get to it. So first things first, thought creates feeling. Every thought that you think will create an emotion, and when you're in a certain emotion, that has thoughts that are linked to it. So if you're already depressed, it has different ideas that are not so good ideas, and that's because they're all linked there. So what you need to do if you're depressed is to break out. Best thing you can do is exercise, to move your body. And there's so many of these online. What you hear online is mainly to get out of being a depressed phase. But what you need to do is stop yourself being knocked into the depressed phase. And if you've been depressed for a long time and you've got chronic depression, you need to recondition your body. And you can do that by daily practices, and also going through the process of releasing emotion, because all those hurts you may have had over time, unfortunately, they're still within you. As things happen, like we don't fight each other. We would have fought each other and it would all been over, but because of society, we don't do that as we were designed. So this is why depression, if someone's upset, depression and anxiety would have been a depression and anger. The anger is the outward expression, depression is the inward expression. So unfortunately, people have just been hurt a lot, and they haven't been able to do anything about it, and they might have been subjected to an environment where they went, it really wasn't a good time. And unfortunately, as the reconditioning happens, there's something called neuroplasticity, where if you feel a certain way for a certain amount of time, you then end up staying that way even when you leave that environment, even if you're not around bad people anymore or something like that. So you've got to do the reconditioning, and that's a morning thing you can do, and that's okay. And I mean, even if you start thinking better and you learn about thought and beliefs, and you get the ideas out that are in your brain, and you get the emotion out, then the whole reconditioning thing's easy. So it's just the process of doing that. And there's sheets that follow at the end of this video where you can write down, and there's questions to ask, because when you ask questions, it makes you go in your mind and take things out, and that's what you want to be doing. And the body as well, some kind of practice on the body, whether it's stretching or there's so many ways you can do it, but we'll get to that. So meaning, so we create meaning with our thoughts. We have perception as well. Something happens in our experience, we take a meaning from it. Someone doesn't text you back, what is the meaning from that? Does that mean that person doesn't like you, or does it mean they must be busy? Well, we're constantly, even if you don't believe that, if you think it's not good, it's going to create an emotion. So you really need this still mind, nothing interrupting. So you want to be living in a place of presence, and you can be present when you've dealt with all the beliefs. These are origins of thoughts that create all these thoughts. And mainly it's down to a worldview. We have ideas and opinions about everything, the way we see ourselves, the way we see people. So we need to adjust the intellectual concepts, and I'll go into that more deeply. So it's what you think about the world. We also have a depth of memory. So you might not be able to remember all the times that were really good. They're definitely there, and you would have had a good time, but there's a negative bias within us to the pain. We remember more for survival purposes. If you're 30 years old, you've been alive for 11,000 days. So by the time you're 30, you can't comprehend and remember every single day. So it has to bring forth the most intense experiences. So that's why we have, we remember stuff that's not good, and that's what we feel generally. So yeah, you want to get rid of that. Then so the body is part of it. So what we can be doing is becoming numb, where you don't feel anything. So you need to do yoga in the mornings. You become aware. You don't do anything. You just wake up, 30 minutes at least, and you just be in your body. Go for a walk. Better yet, exercise if you can in the nature, and you will go away from being in the mind and be here and start to feel again. Because emotion runs through us. I don't know if you remember being a child, but people would tell you off because kids would get overwhelmed with happiness and they couldn't contain it, and then they start running. And as we get older, it stops running through us as much because of desk jobs, because of TVs, who knows? But it's definitely happening. People think too much and they feel too little. So you get into a process of feeling and being in your body and relaxation. I spend an hour talking about this. That's how important it is and ways to do that, to be embodied. That's the new term that's popular at the moment. So yeah, no rushing as well. You do things slowly, you do things relaxed, because if you get stressed, stress releases adrenaline. Adrenaline is pain for the body. So you don't do that. You have to have something of meaning in your life. Meaning, satisfaction. You do an honest day's work. Yeah, something that's good for everyone. And unfortunately, some things in society are only good for the people that are doing that. Is only good for them. It's a breaking a spiritual law. We are all supposed to be doing things that are good for everyone. And the reason people can't feel that a lot of the time, well, I don't know. Some people know the difference between right and wrong, and some don't. But it's still meaning. So it needs to be more. And you know, some things aren't necessarily bad, but they're not really that worthwhile. It's a bit of a waste of time. And this is why people who, you know, claim to be super financially successful and happy, but they don't do anything, or people that just don't do anything anyway, they're never happy. Because they're idle. And we are connected. We're all interconnected. I have very spiritual beliefs, and you can believe whatever you want. But you'll see and you'll know that we're supposed to be in motion. If you look at a depressed person, they're stuck staying somewhere, sitting down maybe on a sofa, and probably because their body's exhausted, or because, you know, they've got so much going on in their mind. It's not because they haven't got anything with meaning, but it's all down to this stuckness, which is the main feature of depression. Whereas happy people are always moving. So you always got to be like moving. You meditate, you stop and you rest well. But then there's an energy that comes to you, or that you feel within you, however you want to think about it, and you have to act and you have to move, you have to be involved. And like, your friends will call you, think of you, and you'll call them. They're like, I was just thinking of you. We are so connected. And I believe when people deny that, people have a great idea and they're like, oh no, but I can't do it because of this. They're blocking their own enthusiasm and emotion that's coming. So as you start conditioning yourself to block the happy things, you know you're going to become numb. So you've always got to act on them. Enthusiasm as well. So that's very similar. Enthusiasm is more, it's about the future. You want to be keeping your mind set on where you're going, and if you fall off and you don't know what to do, you need to plan. It doesn't have to be the best plan, but it needs to be some direction. It needs to be progress. If you don't like your job, you need to make your health better. You need to improve your relationship. Your life needs to continuously be getting better. And the reason people get depressed is because they might be stuck financially, or they might be stuck in a place where they're spending half their life on the train, and they don't want to do that. It's like, I believe there's always ways around things. There might not be a certain time you might have to put up with something, but you will know what's right for you and have a vision and be able to see a way out. As soon as you can go ka-dink, everything changes. So that's the main thing you want to know with depression, is that you just need to get back on the horse and have that set, and you just keep thinking, just keep asking yourself questions. For example, when were you happiest? That is the most important thing to ask. You recreate those conditions in your life. How was your body then? What was you doing? Was you working out? Was it different types of people around you? And you start to put your own piece of the puzzle back together. Another one, what inspired you? Who inspired you? When do you first get that feeling, oh, life's meant to be lived? So that kind of question brings out the emotion. So questions, you want to be going into your mind, you want to be going into your body and drawing out and powering yourself from there. What is important to you? Important. Something important that has strength. You know, this is what you need to be doing. It like at some point it might be every day. But what you can do is fill out the sheets in the back of this video. There's screenshots of them, and you can then keep those answers near you, or write it all out and then get a piece of paper. Because in the morning you need to reset your brain. You wake up, and before the negative thoughts start coming in, you've got that good stuff right there. You look down and you read it, and it puts you in the right frame. And it's once you fill up your mind, there's less stuff that's gonna interrupt it, or it's already solid, so things bounce off more. And then you go and you exercise, you get your fresh air. And what have you, so what have you lost? Have you lost time? Have you lost a lot of energy? You've lost a lot of effort. You have to process that. You have to go through. You have to learn. Okay, so was this a waste of time? Was it not a waste of time? What did I learn from this? What can I gain? And there must be a silver lining in this period of my life. And then you get the learnings from it. You get the knowledge, and then you go, right, okay, let that feeling go. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just a fact of life. So that kind of part of it. But then there's a loss of emotion as well. Like you lose confidence, and you can't settle for that. Here's happiness. Like you need that. You've got to get that back. So there's certain things you've lost you want to reclaim, and there's certain things that need to become insignificant in the grand scheme of your life, or small. They're just like, okay, it's minor things, even though it might feel that way now. And there's bottled emotion too. So if you've been going through it a lot and you're only first starting to look online for help about depression, you might have been feeling that way for a while. If you imagine a thermometer, you might be at the top of that thermometer now. So you just got to empty the thermometer until you start to go back down by asking these questions, gaining some understanding, and going through a process. Energy exchange. There needs to be an energy exchange. Like it needs to be fair. I believe in fairness. I believe in we know what's right for us, what's not right for us. If there's people who are crossing our boundaries, and I believe we're very intuitive of that. So you don't deny that, and you know you make sure it's win-win. And yeah, unfortunately there's a lot of places where it's not win-win, and hopefully the world changes. There's also a lot of good places too, so you've got to get around good people. So your environment will impact you. If you're around people that aren't very nice, attitude. You feel attitude. Attitudes are people's thoughts. If you're somewhere where people don't really care about everyone else, then you're going to feel that. But if you're around people where people like people and they're nice people, you're going to feel that. So we feel each other, and it affects you much more than you think. You think it's just you don't like going to work, but it might be, bad people there. And sound affects us. Music, words. Happy sounds and like aggressive sounds and all the rest of it. So your environment is important. Music too. So the body, I think I've been over that. There's a depth to the body, your senses. Okay, you'll come to your sense as you get out your mind. You'll come more to your senses. You start using them more. You start using your eyes more, and stuff like that. So I think we're there. But yeah, I'll go into that in more detail. It's 6 hours, and you'll be right as rain. So if you want to contact me, you can do. You send me an email, which is danny@undeniablerecovery.co.uk if you found this somewhere randomly. Bye for now.